What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another gaming session, and today we're going to be talking about Last of Us Online. Now, personally, I didn't know this was actually a thing. I kind of maybe vaguely remember that Naughty Dog was working on this, but it's been canceled, and that's probably a good thing. Essentially, Last of Us Online was supposed to be an expansion to Last of Us 2. And then they were going to pull a Call of Duty, with Modern Warfare 3 and being an expansion to Modern Warfare 2. And then, Activision Blizzard and all the devs at Call of Duty said we need to scam our fans. That's basically what it feels like Naughty Dog was attempting to do. And now it's good that it's canceled, but I wanted to go ahead and get into the IGN article. Okay, so let's first get into the development of Last of Us Online, kind of give a backstory on exactly what this was. So this is courtesy of Last of Us fandom, and Anthony Newman and Kurt Margano, co-game directors of Last of Us Part 2, confirmed the existence of multiplayer mode for the game at E3 2018. On The Last of Us Day 2019. I don't know why there's a Last of Us Day, but whatever. Naughty Dog revealed that the multiplayer mode had grown in scope beyond what was feasible to bundle with the game, and that they had made the decision to launch Part 2 without a multiplayer mode. Basically, they realized they could make more money on selling it separately. Naughty Dog went to say, "You will eventually experience the fruits of our team's online ambition. When and where it will be realized is still to be determined." On the following year, The Last of Us Day 2020, game director Neil Druckmann made a cryptic tweet that has widely been interpreted to be referring to the multiplayer game, saying to be patient as it will be worth it. On The Last of Us Day 2021, Naughty Dog posted a blog addressed to the Last of Us community, which confirmed that they're continuing to develop the multiplayer game and that they were looking to hire additional staff for the project. It goes on to say, at Summer Game Fest 2022, Neil Druckmann confirmed that the game would be a standalone title that will be just as big as any of Naughty Dog's single-player games. It will feature unique story elements with brand new characters located in San Francisco, California. He shared a picture of concept art featuring two armed survivors on a rooftop. In the background is the Bay Bridge in south of Market. What appears to be a storm of dust and flying debris blankets the city. In a Twitter comment, we'll just kind of skip ahead, but in a Twitter comment on The Last of Us Day 2022, Neil Druckmann reiterated that more details on the project would be released in 2023. Druckmann released a second piece of concept art in January 2023, and said more information would be revealed later in the year. On May 26, 2023, it was reported by Jason Schreier of Bloomberg that Sony had slowed down development on the multiplayer project as Naughty Dog reassesses its quality and long-term viability. Sony, in a push to market games as a service or video game designed to be monetized beyond their initial sales through a continuing revenue model, asked one of their studios, Bungie, to evaluate the game across its portfolio. Bungie questioned the multiplayer project's ability to maintain player engagement for a long period of time, which led to the reassessment. The team working on the project was scaled back as many of its developers were moved to other projects. Later that day, Naughty Dog released a statement on Twitter revealing that they realized the best thing for the game is to give it more time, and confirm that they're continuing to work on the project alongside a brand new single player experience. And this is the latest update. On December 14, 2023, Naughty Dog announced The Last of Us Online had ceased development. In a blog post, the developer noted the large scope of the game and need for significant post-launch support would impact the development of future games. The studio chose to end development on the online multiplayer project in order to maintain focus on a single-player narrative titles. So it feels like, if this has been in development since 2018, it feels like they wasted quite a bit of time making something that essentially was just a cash grab. It was an online service. It was going to be, essentially try to scam people with microtransactions, and I wouldn't put this past Neil Druckmann for wanting to push this. And first off, it feels like if you already had this built, and if you've been working on it for 5 years, why would Bungie come in and just all of a sudden say it's a waste of time? All that work, and you're just saying it's a waste of time. Why didn't nobody feel this way, like, pretty early on in the development? again, it's when I see these things, and it goes back to Modern Warfare 3. When I see things are supposed to be like an expansion or an add-on to an existing game, and then they all of a sudden switch it, and then say, hey, let's release this alongside, or like as a standalone title. It screams cash grab. It screams we're scamming our fans. And that's basically what this feels like. Let's head over to, so we're going to head over to IGN, and we're going to get some industry reacts, how they've reacted to everything. From Twitter, I've been seeing a lot of positive comments, essentially saying, thank God this isn't canceled. And for me personally, Last of Us 2 was a bad game because of its story, and I'm not someone who's a big fan of revenge plots. It works in movies because it's pretty short, but when you do it in video games, it feels like I wasted 20 hours of my life because essentially, and then if you haven't played Last of Us 2, this is the other big problem. She doesn't even kill Abby at the end, and it pissed me off to no end.
Go. Just take him.
But I hate Last of Us 2. It's one of the worst sequels to what was an incredible game in Last of Us. But this is the industry reacts to Naughty Dog's tough decision to cancel The Last of Us Online. Late yesterday evening, Naughty Dog released a blog post sharing an update at its multiplayer game set in the Last of Us universe. Unfortunately for those who are looking forward to the game, it will never see the light of day, as Naughty Dog announced it had made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on what is called The Last of Us Online. Following the announcement, many in the community took to X Twitter to react to Naughty Dog's decision. Some expressed disappointment that the game was canceled. Some were specifically again frustrated that Naughty Dog had removed the multiplayer component in the re-release of The Last of Us Part 1. Others were upset at the missed potential of a multiplayer game set in The Last of Us universe. Dom the Bomb. Dad, remember when Naughty Dog showed The Last of Us Online at the Summer Game Fest 2022? And this is just like that rapist Vince McMahon basically crying about Andre the Giant, I believe. It's frustrating. This is from John Cartwright. It's frustrating when Naughty Dog has all re-releases strip multiplayer out. The Last of Us Part 1, I can remember So this is John Cartwright. It's frustrating when Naughty Dog has all re-releases strip multiplayer out. Last of Us Part 1, I can maybe get, but Uncharted 4 is flat out not the full game on PS5. Right move not to be a live service studio, but I miss the days of shipping multiplayer without commitment. Yeah, I do too. I remember back in the day, you know, maybe probably like 5 years ago, when multiplayer used to be just kind of a component of your overall game, and now you have these studios who are essentially trying to scam their fans and make sure that they can penny pinch and take as much money as possible from customer loyalty. This is Voyager's Revenge. What The Last of Us Online could have been. So much potential for an extremely detailed online survival game developed by incredibly talented game designers. On the bright side, Naughty Dog will continue to develop their next narrative-focused game, The Last of Us 3. I don't want a Last of Us 3. I just don't. I didn't want a Last of Us 2 because I felt like I felt like they kind of leaving it where it was with Last of Us. I knew we were going to get a sequel no matter what. But essentially, when you take and you kill Joel right away.
Please stop. Please don't shoot. Joel, please get up. No!
Pretty early on, and then Ellie's just the main focal point, and then the whole thing is just a revenge story. It sucked. It was a trash story. I don't care what your politics are. It was a crap game, and the people defending it do so for political reasons, and then there's people who hate it for political reasons. For me, as a gamer, as a fan of the first one, I hate the second one's story because it is just a trash story. It's a waste of my freaking time, and I don't even get the satisfaction of killing Abby at the end, which is absolutely just It's stupid. It's stupid. Others emphasize with Naughty Dog's decision, with some hoping that canceling the live service game would prevent the studio from facing additional layoffs, which would be good. You don't want people getting fired, especially. So many people have been fired in the gaming industry this year alone. I think it's in the tens of thousands or some. It's a crazy amount of people who have lost their job, and a lot of it has to do with stupid decisions by stupid studio heads who have no freaking clue what the hell they're doing anymore. And it's an embarrassment. It's sad. But a lot of these a lot of these people who do wind up getting fired do wind up going and making indie studios, which is why at Gaming Sessions we play a lot of indie games. We support indie studios. It's because a lot of these people are basically trying to either find their own path without, getting a career or job that they could have at any point in time because their contract would be fired in. And yeah, I'm just, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. The Last of Us multiplayer was among a handful of live service games developed by numerous PlayStation studios. Other games on that list include Marathon, the PvP shooter from Bungie, which you may recall also suffered layoffs that were apparently due to the poor performance of its other live service game, Destiny 2. Again, live service games are not the future. Live service games are just a way to scam fans. This is brave and important call so this is from Rami Ismail. This is a brave and important call for both the studio and industry, and I deeply respect it. Of course, I do hope that it doesn't tie into layoffs, and so sorry the teams who work hard, whose hard work has been canceled. Lawrence Sante. While this is awesome, it feels like a heavy spin to me. It's pretty hard to swallow that Naughty Dog didn't understand the demands of live service until just now. Again, it's poor leadership. Neil Druckmann's. I feel like Neil Druckmann is one of the worst leaders in like when it comes to major studios. I think he's absolutely terrible. I think he has no creative vision whatsoever, and anybody who tries to tell him different, he feels like the type of guy to fire that person immediately. This is Michael Huber. Obviously bummed, but I'm glad Naughty Dog won't become a live service studio. We'll continue to make top tier single player games. At least we still have factions. Let's see. Kane, bro. The loss of time here is heartbreaking. Talented developers like Naughty Dog and Rocksteady lost years of progress being trapped in development hell on a live service project that nobody wants to make or play just to let them make the stuff they're good at. God damn it. Sony is pretty hands off when it comes to their first party studios. So again, this is probably a Neil Druckmann move, and this is what he wanted to do because it was more money for him. Angry Joe, I think this is the right move. We didn't need yet another live service game taking up all of Naughty Dog's time. It took up 5 years, and that's the problem. Let me finish this and take it on. It's resources to cash in on a waning fad. No thank you, ultimately the right decision. But again, it's 5 years. They spent 5 freaking years working on this. What was supposed to be a component to Last of Us 2. Also, they could sell it for $70, scam their fans, and then try to nickel and dime people with live service games. So this wasn't like, hey, this was announced last year and they just started working on it. This is 5 freaking years of progress down the drain because of idiots who have no clue what they're doing at the top. Just going to bump this is from Leanna Rupert. Just going to bump this back up here because this is the smartest thing Naughty Dog could have done to prevent further layoffs. In addition to Naughty Dog canceling the Last of Us multiplayer game, the studio also revealed it's working on more than one ambitious brand new single player game, which we won't see for another 8 years. With that revelation, some fans of Naughty Dog, particularly the Jak and Daxter series, expressed a desire for the studio to revisit the franchise and make a new entry. Naughty Dog was the original creator of Jak and Daxter, the first game released in 2001, one of the best trilogies I've ever played, especially when it comes to platformers, which was followed by 2 sequels and a spin-off game. Also, there was like Jak Racing, I think, of which were released on the PS2. Some have said that Naughty Dog should develop a new game based on the Sly Cooper IP. That would be dope. Sly Cooper series was created by Sucker Punch Productions, which developed a trilogy of games on the PS2. The most recent game, the Sly Cooper Thieves in Time, was developed by Sound Zero Games in 2013. I think it was like for Vita. I think it was the PS Vita game. But just more comments. Naughty Dog, this is from Jake, a game. Naughty Dog can right their wrongs by developing a new Jak and Daxter, and this just kind of going over all of that. Alright, so, here, my final thoughts are, whoever decided that it was a good idea to do a live service game, to strip away the multiplayer aspect from The Last of Us 2 should be fired like Brandon Staley was fired after losing, giving up 63 points to the Raiders.
63-21. This doesn't happen in the NFL.
So they should all be canned. They should all be fired. They should not be working at Naughty Dog anymore. I'm sick and tired of these terrible decision makers, these horrific leaders, still keeping their jobs and acting like are bad, and then they sit there and lead another disastrous project. I'm not putting it past the idea that they could do this in the future, because again, if you can nickel and dime the gamers, most studios major studios are gonna do so, and it's PlayStation. PlayStation absolutely nickels and dimes its consumers by giving them very little in return. But the one thing that sucks is they spent 5 years on this, and now they're going to have to start from scratch, and we may not see a Naughty Dog game probably for another 4 years. And I'm guessing at the very least, because I'm not sure how long. Last of Us 2 was in production for a long time. And it's only going to be, now they have to go back to the drawing board, figure out what they exactly want to do. I wouldn't have an issue with another Sly Cooper game. I love Sly Cooper. I wouldn't have an issue with another Jak and Daxter game. I love Jak and Daxter. I wouldn't have an issue with another Uncharted game if they want to go back to Uncharted again. I would have an issue with another Last of Us game because of how bad the story was in the second one. But overall, I don't know what's next for Naughty Dog. This is a good thing that they did cancel this trash, but it does suck that now hopefully people aren't getting laid off, and I think that's the bigger thing, bigger story when it comes to this, is because you don't want more people to lose their jobs because, again, of terrible leaders, terrible decision makers who have no freaking clue what they're doing, or they had creative vision 10 years ago and completely have no creative vision left. But anyway, so that's the story. Multiplayer, the online component, live service, Last of Us game has been canceled. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you disagree with me on hating on this whole Last of Us multiplayer. If you do, let us know in the comments down below, and we definitely want to hear from you. And also down below, you'll find a description where me and my brother Rocky's all the socials are located, as well as don't forget to hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss on videos like this from us in the future. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, and thank you so much for chilling with me. We'll see you all in the next gaming session.
I stay out of my head to the depths of the universe. It's a spell or a chance just to open up a newer curse. If I swim too far, then my head goes under. If we take it as it is, then there ain't no wonder. It's hard to imagine that just one